And tell you here on the show, don't we, about the way the mainstream media decides to represent, shall we say, individual stories. I don't know about you, I always find it fascinating because the headline sometimes is actually more interesting than the actual story when you dig a little bit deeper. But of course, when it concerns a senior member of the British monarchy, it's always good, isn't it, particularly for the clickbait and, of course, for the sales of newspapers and magazines, to make that story as salacious as possible. The bigger problem is, though, when you're talking about one senior member of the British monarchy, that does come with, shall we say, a bit of a colossal backstory, then you have to be very careful. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here. Nice to see you. Hope you're all keeping well today. Thank you for your lovely comments about the brilliant Gene Vincent. Bebopalula indeed. If you haven't seen that video, do check it out. Do support the Other Than Royal stories. It would be most appreciative because I do like making those for you. And also, it's just a bit of a difference, isn't it? It changes the pace of your day. Maybe gets you thinking about lesser stars that we haven't thought about for many years. You know, the sort of thing. Treat yourself. Check it out. Gene Vincent, Bebopalula. And of course, the association with many people that I was lucky enough to meet over here on his British tours. What a rebel he was, or was he? A little bit like this particular royal story. This particular individual has been deemed, of course, a royal rebel for many years, ever since entering into the British monarchy in the middle 80s. Of course, we're talking about the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, alongside the late and beautiful Princess Diana. They were the darlings of the media of their day. Magazines sold out with their pictures on. Millions of people around the world tuned in for that spectacular wedding between Sarah and the then Prince Andrew. Now, Sarah herself has had something of a bit of a checkered career since departing the British monarchy, although she still lives alongside her former husband. They are apparently the very best of friends, and they look incredibly happy together, supporting each other. Sarah's branched out also as a very successful author with many books to her name. Her latest deal, though, has got a brand new Victorian sort of melodrama attached to it, and it's doing incredibly well. So much so that she's been invited over to the United States in the next month or so to meet with people to talk about exactly what she could do, whether she could turn this into a TV drama, perhaps a bit Downton Abbey-ish, or indeed a movie. But also the media have leaked the fact that she's going to be doing some press and media interviews and happy to talk about Harry and Meghan. This, of course, sent all the papers into a bit of a hot spin, shall we say, because obviously those will be the questions that they will want answering as someone who's really at the epicenter of the British monarchy. What's the true story? Well, it's a great PR spin, but Sarah will be asking, or should I say answering questions regarding Harry and Meghan, many of them with a lot of no comments. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I couldn't possibly answer that. It's basically called publicity, PR for her book. Of course, she knows, and the rest of the world know, that if you mention the, shall we say, disgraced former royals, Harry and Meghan, particularly when you're selling a product yourself, hopefully people will be more inclined to invite you on those much ready chat shows, radio interviews, and of course, press launches. Would Sarah really risk, after a 20-year hiatus of not being in the epicenter of the royal monarchy, to come back and say something rather disrespectful? Absolutely not. She's very dedicated, as she was, to our late and beautiful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, and more importantly right now, King Charles III. And once again, while she, of course, has had a differing background within the monarchy, she wouldn't risk or rule out that opportunity not to attend such an historical event. So while many people are getting very excited about what will Sarah reveal, let me tell you here and now, not much at all. The very best of luck though, Sarah, with your book. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.